I've come across this element in the world. It's sort of this thing that exists. It's friend loan credits, sort of, right? You have friends, you want to have balance in the life, you help someone out, they help you out, and hopefully it's balanced. This is a story about a case where maybe it wasn't. I had one friend in particular, a housemate, roommate in college, who I cared about. I really liked him, got along with him. He's the sort of person, he went to the most expensive all-boys high school in the entire country. He wore a Fidel Castro hat all the time, and he would go around on a longboard just on completely level ground for about 100 feet if anybody attractive was walking by. So that's kind of the guy we're dealing with here. So I decided I would help him out here and there, and I was the kind of person that would go pick him up at the airport, and I would be the designated driver if he needed help. Occasionally, I would use my guest meals at the dining halls for him if he left his dining card. So this moment comes where, coincidentally, I met a set designer for a Broadway show. It's not Hamilton. It was Hairspray. Fantastic. Norm from Cheers was in it at the time, so kind of a big deal. And so we got a bunch of tickets to the show from this set designer that I met, and I was really excited about it. And I said, he owes me. We need someone to drive us down for this theater group. Maybe he'll let us use his car. And I asked him about it, and he said he was all on board. So it seemed like things were going well. Maybe he would balance the scales a little bit. And I went ahead and I had a few meetings and found all the people that wanted to go, and had information meetings, basically just saying, hey, we can pay for this and this, we can't pay for food, we can't pay for parking, but pretty much everything else is covered. We're staying at so-and-so's house, and we're going to do this, and we're going to tour the studio, and all these kinds of things. And Andrew didn't show up to any of those meetings, and he didn't respond to any of my emails. So I figured, he's the kind of person that's very aloof. He goes to a casino for 3 days at a time, and then he ends up broke and calls me, and I go pick him up. Another one of those friend credits. And I would feel like he's out of the house all the time. So this was not an atypical situation. And here he is, not in his room for a couple weeks before this trip. So I even posted the info sheet for the trip and printed directions, which were a big deal at the time. And I had all this stuff set up for him, ready to go. And I kept saying, we're going to cover everything except for food and parking. It's pretty basic, meet us at this time. So we're going to leave for the trip, and I was kind of nervous that he wasn't going to show up. But he did show up in his dad's Suburban that he commandeered for the trip. We shoved a bunch of people in the car. I drove my beater old car. And on the trip, we go to dinner. And at the end of dinner, he says he's gonna put everything on his credit card. And I'm like, wow, he's really balancing the scales with everybody. And then I realized, he says, here, give me the cash, and we'll even it out. I want the points. I said, oh, okay, that's not as nice, I guess. But whatever, people do that. But then I remembered back, he's done this before. And who pays the bill for his credit card? His dad blindly pays the bill for his credit card. And so he basically uses this card as an ATM to sort of secretly get money that he then goes and uses at the casino and other places. And so this is his little ATM transaction. So it's not kind in any way, and it has nothing to do with points. And I'm dealing with this kind of person, and I'm like, whatever, this is his lifestyle. It doesn't really affect me. He's helping with the trip. So we keep going. We make it to New York City. We are driving around trying to find parking. We are near the set designer studio trying to find parking. I'm driving around. I'm not with the other car. So I park on the street for free, believe it or not, in Manhattan. And we go to the set designer's studio, and it was an awesome tour. And then we went and we saw the show, met Norm from Cheers, met the cast, talked to all sorts of crew people. It was a lot of fun. And then we head back up to school. And the next day, I'm in my bedroom, which I'll remind you is right next to Andrew's bedroom. And I get an email where he says, hey, I just want to be reimbursed. I just want to know when I'm going to get my reimbursement for gas and parking. And I said, parking, are you kidding me, parking? He's in the room right next to me. He didn't ask me about this. He just sends an email. And so I play into it. I play passive-aggressive battleship with him, and I kind of go back and forth with him. And I'm sending emails and saying, I send an email to the whole group, even though it's directed at him, and I say, I said it's all covered by the student funds. We can't pay this, et cetera, et cetera. And it goes back and forth. And finally I storm out of the room after we've been emailing aggressively back and forth, even though we're 10 feet apart. And I glance at him as I walk out the door, and I see still on the door is the info sheet, unread, obviously. And at that point, I realize I hate this guy. He's not my friend. And he comes out, and he just begs me for the money. And I say, you know what, fine. I'll give you it out of my money. I give him my $40. And he says, oh, thank you so much. I owe you one. And I say, no, you owe me more than one, more than two, more than the $40. You owe me all these friend credits. You owe me all these hours, all this time of my life. And it just ate away at me. I mean, no, it obviously didn't affect me. I would never talk about it again. I was fine. It's not a big deal, so I'm going to let it go.